Did you have a direction that they kind of knew they wanted the songs to go in, or again, you were just matching it to the choreo? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yes, you get it.
Boom. Let's go.
I'm so excited to do my first interview on this channel with my good friend, Josh Cumbee. Josh, how are you? I haven't seen you in real life, in person, since the Billboard Awards in like 2019. How
I mean,
crazy.
I don't know if I've seen many things in real life aside my dog and my fiance. So, hey, there's that's my whole social circle. So yeah, no, same for me.
First of all,
Yeah.
congratulations on your new song Break Even coming out today. And it's cool because I saw that it draws inspiration from the Scripps Break Even, which
Mhm.
had a huge impact on your life. So what is the song, or what has the response been like from the song?
I mean, that song to me is just one of the best written songs. Like as far as the art of songwriting, it's pretty hard to beat that tune.
Mhm.
And I actually met those guys in the studio a few years back. They were working with my mentor at the time, and super, super sweet guys, Danny and Mark. And they came down and sat in my studio and just listened to songs I was working on for like an hour. And like just humble beyond all reason. They gave me feedback and taught me things about songwriting that I read like 6 books and I didn't learn as much as I did from those guys. So it's one of those things where like they say don't meet your heroes, but every once in a while you do, and then they're even better, and then it's like, okay, like I have to tribute this song somehow because it just means so much to me, and these guys are so awesome, and that's what we did.
Has it been something you've been thinking about doing for a while, or it just kind of came to you one day? You're like, you know what? I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna be good.
I mean, I was putting together kind of a first round of body of work for my artist project after my Armin single when I was like, I should probably do something to feed what's happening here as far as this momentum. And I was thinking, a lot of the artists I really respect have covered great songs. And if I was going to cover one song, my Desert Island song, what would it be? And it was that one.
Here we are. Now you're a talented singer, songwriter, producer. What's the biggest difference between writing a song for you versus someone else?
It's really a matter of kind of thinking ahead of the song. And when you're writing for another artist or you're working with another artist, you're always thinking, how do I serve the vision of this artist? Because their creative expression is super, super important. And I think it's easy as a creative to get lost in the vanity of what do I want to hear. But that's the joy of having an artist project is I get to go in there and say, okay, forget about trying to please radio or playlist, whatever. What do I want to hear? And I get to do that there. And then the producing and writing for their artists is how do I help this person express what they're feeling, what they want to hear, like what's in their soul, and what they want to be playing on stage for the next 10 years,
Did you grow up always having music on in the household and stuff like that, or what was your background like growing up?
I mean, my dad, growing up, my dad used to play music in church all the time. So I grew up like seeing him play guitar and thinking it was the coolest thing. And he taught me some guitar, some piano. I ended up being classically trained for like 7 years. Then I fell into jazz, and that made me forget all my music theory. And that led me to film scoring. And then now we're here.
I feel like a lot of people, including myself, didn't know your extensive K-pop writing, producing background. I was shook. You've written and produced for NCT Dream 127, 2018, NCT, TVXQ, BoA, NUEST. I mean, the list goes long and on and on. I was literally having like a low-key panic attack researching for this interview. How did you get into writing and producing for K-pop? Because it was a while ago already. It's been, what, since 2015?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was even like before K-pop was quote cool in
Mhm.
sort of the creative circles of the US. It was something that when I kind of signed my first publishing deal and I started working for a lot of different artists, my publisher put me in some camps where they had us focus on K-pop. And so
Okay.
we wrote some songs in there. And ironically, the BoA song, we wrote that in a like Malibu camp with Sarah, who's phenomenally talented. Singer, artist, everything. And yeah, we kind of just fell into it. And what I think made it really natural is I'm a way overly complicated person. Like I just love complicated things. And in the US market, it's different in the sense that things are very linear, they're very repetitive, and they're very simple. And with K-pop fans, it's like exactly the opposite. Like the complexity and the musicality and the amount of like different sections and movements and production finesse that goes into everything, it's just, it's a wonderland. And for somebody who has as much musical ADD as me, it's just a dream come true.
I was just going to say, it's like the musical ADD, it's your dream. Honestly, it really is. Because even someone, watching and working in it from, a journalist aspect or a YouTuber aspect, like the reaction videos and just the interviews in general, you're like, whoa, there's so much going on in the video. It's a spectacle. I love it. I would say I have to watch a video like 15 to 20 times when it first comes out just to catch the little nuances.
It's always moving and it's always progressing. And it has this, even in the darker songs, there's a certain brightness to it that I think is a really kind of pleasant dichotomy. And especially with the world the way it is, there's a lot of sad songs out there and that's really important. But I think the splash of brightness in K-pop is just uniquely special.
That's exactly what it is. I keep saying if I hear one more sad girl summer song and it's almost March, guys. I can't take it anymore. That's why I'm so obsessed with K-pop, because like you said, even if it's a darker song, it still makes you feel like some sort of happiness, the yin and the yang that we all need right now. It's totally what it is. Have you been to Korea? Have you written there?
Yes.
Tell me everything.
Yeah, I did a writing session there. SM brought a few producers out, and we worked in-house in their building, which is like an incredible thing in and of itself because once again, in the US, it's very different. There's a lot of contractors who do different parts of a artist's career. So you'll have, the choreographer over here and the producer over here and the mixer and all this stuff. And then all these different people trying to come together under one vision. Whereas there, with a company like SM, they've built something phenomenal where there's studios and mixing studios, but there's also dance studios and choreographers, and everything is in-house. So the vision is super aligned. And I was really blown away by that, like working in the SM building and writing songs for all these artists and producing for all these artists. And that building was actually where I produced on Black off that NCT album. And the crazy thing about this, I don't know if this is like commonly known or not, but we had the choreography first.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. And me coming from a dance background right now, my brain just exploded because that's wild. All right.
Yeah, I had a video of the choreography and it was like, okay, we got to figure out what to do for this. And I mean, like those guys are so talented. Like just watching them dance was like, I don't even know how I could make anything musically that could live up to the amount of skill that's going into this. But we did, I guess.
I feel like Black on Black, which obviously you wrote and produced, it kind of set the standard for what was to come in the 2020 album that just came out in November, December. I mean, did you have a direction that they kind of knew they wanted the songs to go in, or again, you were just matching it to the choreo?
I mean, there was definitely some references and influences. I was one of a few producers on that song, so I definitely do not take all the credit by any stretch of the imagination. But I think the vibe was in the choreography, the movement and everything was just there, and so it just became, how do we make each of these sounds, like when you hear this kick sound, how does it feel with the stomp that's happening in this moment, and how do these weird washy sounds on the sides feel with this elbow move that happens right here, and it just all kind of became, what does this move sound like?
That's crazy. Have you ever danced?
Yes I have. I on a dare joined a dance company when I was at USC.
Stop.
So yeah, and I was quite terrible at it, but they needed boys to do lifts, so I actually did like a year of quasi ballet, basically.
Oh my God, I love it. All right. See? So you know what it's like. I'm so proud. So proud right now. I feel like everyone who loves K-pop just gave you a round of applause right now.
I could never ever dance like those guys though. I mean, like the talent is just,
it's insane. Like jaw dropped on the floor. And every single award show too that they do there. I mean, I've been showing all my friends all the award shows too, who can appreciate it, because it is not like the award shows here, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, like MoMA is like next level.
I don't even know, Cirque du Soleil spectacle, like I feel like that's what we can compare it to here, because we don't have award show performances like that, or even concerts. It's not that standard. What do you think about K-pop becoming more mainstream here, and what does that mean for you as a producer writer?
I love it for so many reasons. I mean, once again, now it's the kind of thing where if I talk about, in a writing session, hey, this song could go for K-pop, people are like, yes, that's exciting, let's do that. But that wasn't as much the case 3 or 4 years ago, before I mean, what BTS did changed everything. And before that, it was kind of like a, for some writers, it was like, okay, well, I guess if we can't give this to Beyonce, then maybe. And I think that the amount of talent and skill and just artistry that comes out of Korea deserves the level of platform that it's finally starting to get. So I'm thrilled to see it. And I'm also thrilled to see the US have to compete musically against something that is, maybe more intricate and complicated. To me personally, a little more interesting.
So I'm interested to see what different collabs are going to happen on that end of things too, because I feel like the DJs are always so cool and open to collabing with different people from all over the world because they're from all over the world.
Yeah.
So I feel like, come on, pop side of things, we got to catch up. Let's go.
Yeah, and I love the collabs. I will say I always prefer when they feel really genuine and it's not kind of like a cloud chasing thing. Because
I
I think
agree.
sometimes people are like, hey, we could blow this up if we get, an act on it that's big in this country. And that's cool, but it's business. And I think
Right.
creatively it has to make sense and be honest. And that's what really builds both artists' legacies. So I love the collabs, but that's my one caveat. I love to see them be authentic.
Oh, totally. I got to interview Inverness, who works a lot with Kong Daniel and Anthony Russo, and they're obviously over here from the US. And, Kong Daniel has attributed a lot of he's very thankful to those two guys. And I love that. And you can tell that that is very genuine. And I think that's going to start coming off, uh, I guess, more too in the music. I mean, you can tell when it's a genuine thing too, like that. So I'm excited to see what's going to come from more and more collabs. Again, genuine ones. That's what we like. But I want to talk about you being an artist. Who is your dream collab?
It's funny. I just got asked this on a live stream earlier, and I think if I could do a song, I mean, once again, we're dreaming here.
Right.
So if I could do a song somehow with like Chris Martin from Coldplay and John Bellion and Chance the Rapper all together, I would probably just retire right then and there. That would be it.
Those are some interesting choices all in one song. That would be great.
I mean, it's weird, but you can kind of see it.
I
And
can
and
see
I
it.
think all of those guys like they have such a respect for lyricism that I love, but also like melody and cadence and all these things that go into the art of songwriting. And I would just die if I like had a song with that was like that. I would actually die.
And
Yeah,
everyone else would be like, no, but we need the K-pop songs, so you can't do that.
I mean, hey, don't we've it's funny, we've talked about doing K-pop collabs on a few occasions. I would love nothing more than to do a like record with a K-pop artist. And we just haven't really found like the right one or had the right synergy, but like, it's definitely something that we've talked about once again before K-pop was
Right.
crazy because it's just awesome. So it's definitely something that I hope I get to do.
I think the great thing too about the music scene in Korea is obviously K-pop is what is becoming more mainstream here in the US on US radio, but there's a whole R&B scene. The Korean rap scene is insane. The underground rap scene is insane. I mean, there's so many talented people. Where are all these people coming from? It's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of like K-pop finds its soul in some of those like deep R&B soul lanes, and the melodies and the chords that come from that. I'm like, man, like just hats off to that level of just depth, and it's just fantastic.
How do you kind of balance the songwriting producer Josh rather than the artist Josh? Because I'm sure it's very hard when you're so busy like yourself.
Yeah, I mean, from a time standpoint, it's definitely tough to juggle everything, and I end up doing a lot of late studio nights and all that jazz. But there's this old Bruce Lee quote that's "Be like water," and kind of like flow. You flow in and out of opportunities and things as they kind of light up. So I just try to spend my time musically where the flow is natural and where things just kind of make sense and there's natural synergies.
Super famous Armin van Buuren song you're literally singing on. How did that come about?
Yeah, I mean that was a crazy story too because Armin he wanted to meet with my mentor, Toby Gad, who's like one of the greatest songwriters of all time. And he came by the studio for like a couple hours and kind of the whole compound sat in and sat with him and we were just supposed to like meet and then next thing you know he's playing the track with that and then the track turns into the hook and then I'm the only singer there. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll sing it until we find somebody better because that's definitely going to happen. And for whatever reason, he liked my voice on it. And Next thing I know, I'm like flying to Italy, shooting the music video. And it was still like a imposter syndrome thing of like, okay, well, that's cool, but it's probably not going to do anything. Like, it's just going to come out and whatever. And then it was like, double platinum in the Netherlands, like that, and number one at radio. And I was like, I don't even know.
That's so funny because you're like the third person who has told me an Armin story like that. And I love that he's such a nice, genuine dude, going back to that. And I wonder, I really do, because the same thing with like Korea. The other side of the world, they're just like, I feel like nicer and more open. And if there's anything we can learn, it's definitely that.
Yeah, I think humility is the single most important quality you can have as an artist. And there's a few artists that I've learned it from over the years, or at least kind of honed it in a way. And Armin's one of those people where he when he came in to meet with my mentor, he acted starstruck in a way. And I was like, you're like the biggest star ever, but he's just so humble that he admires other people's creativity and doesn't hold himself in like a posturing way. And it's the same thing with a lot of the K-pop artists I've been lucky to be in the room with. Like there's just this inherent humility and like desire to collaborate and to learn from each other. And that attitude is so much cooler, in my opinion, than all the like flexing that the world has to offer.
I always say, let's be open-minded. When people are asking me about K-pop or even just wanting to know how I got into it. I mean, we did a whole episode on my podcast with my friend Brooke as the guest, and we were just talking about being open-minded when it comes to music and languages and shows and culture, just in general. I mean, if there's anything the world could use right now, it's humility. So that's definitely what I'm trying to do with the channel as well. But I'm so happy we got to chat. Finally, I got to interview you. I feel like it's been so long in the making.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
Next for me, I mean, we're still kind of preparing the next singles to roll out for my artist project with Avex. So we're excited about that. I'm working on a lot of songs right now with various artists that I can't talk about and also don't want to jinx.
Knock on wood.
But we'll see. And yeah, hopefully, I'm really hoping that live music is back by like next year, because I would love to start, doing some shows in a couple places and just expand the universe of music in that way. I think it would be amazing.
Totally agree. Where can everyone find you on social media? Go follow you and listen to all your music.
I'm at Josh Cumbee Music on almost everything except Twitter, for which I'm just Josh Cumbee. Don't ask why. It doesn't make any sense.
It's always Twitter. Twitter's always different. I don't know why. Same thing. All right, guys, definitely go check them out. And of course, subscribe to my channel. Same thing. I'm Racquel Goldy on all social media platforms. Slide into my DMs. Let's talk about K-pop because it's fun.
It's the best.